we're going to start off talking about the big state championship. How'd it feel?
Oh, it felt awesome. Just so proud of our kids. First off, I've been around football for a long time, and all my years in Dallas and even in college, this is the first championship that I even experienced myself. And so, I've always dreamed of that and feeling it, but this is a little bit different. Being in this position, it was really all about the kids and the work that they put in, and the commitment and time and their families, and really just trusting us and our vision that we had for the football program, and to see them hold up that trophy and to be champions and all that comes with champions and celebrating that. I'm just really, really proud of our football team, our coaches, and just this entire community.
Was that the goal when you came in? Because your first season, I believe you guys won 2 games,
right,
then had a better season after that, and then you go 14-0.
Yeah.
Was your goal when you took this job, okay, I'm going to go get this job and we're going to win a state championship?
Yeah, I think, when you start listing things, when you get into high school coaching, I think you think about what's the priorities of doing that. And I'd always say, that there didn't have to be, we didn't have to be independent of one another, meaning we can be really good students, we can have high character, be kids of integrity, be difference makers, and be good football players. And it doesn't have to be, well, we're really good kids, but we can't play football, or we're really good football players and we don't have the character. And so I think my big mission in this and vision was, let's body all of that. Let's chase great. There's a standard that we should be living as young men, and our coaching staff, myself included, we should model that on a daily basis for those kids to see it. And so I really pushed them. Obviously, I'm competitive. I want them, all that hard work that they've put in, I wanted them to see what that experience is of being champions and knowing that you left it all out there. And the first year was hard, 2-8. I've been around football a long time. I don't know that I've ever lost 8 games straight, and we lost them bad. And just stay the course. I think if anything, it just confirmed to me how you build a program, whether it's in the high school level or at the professional level. There's a right way to do things, and you just get the right people together and the kids that believe. And it was a special season this year, going 14-0.
At what point did you decide in retirement, you know what, I think I'll be a high school coach?
Yeah, it's amazing how it kind of transformed for me. When I retired the first time, I did television for a year. I came back and played, and I tell everybody I couldn't make my mind up where I was going. And so my last stop after 16 years with the Cowboys was I went out to Las Vegas and played for the Raiders. And one of the kind of catches for that was I kind of wanted to get into coaching. And I knew Coach Gruden had done that. We had a relationship from Monday Night Football. And so I said, yeah, I'll come in there. I'll be a leader. I'll kind of show these guys the way. Obviously, there's a lot of temptation that goes with being in Las Vegas. And so I'll come in there and do all that for your team. But I also want to get a peek behind the curtain of coaching. And all along, I always kind of thought at that level or college. And, that season ended. It was the COVID year, and my family was back in Dallas. That was a lot harder than I thought I would be able to manage it. Like most men, I can do this. Family's back there. I'll make it work. And it was really hard. It's hard for our family. And so I knew really quickly from that standpoint of, all right, whatever decision we go, my family's going to be a part of that. And had some unique opportunities and just felt like, man, I don't know. I just feel like I need to get back, take a year, figure it out, just get back with my family. Obviously, it was a long career, 17 years, and come to an end. And I'm just going to kind of hit reset here for 6 months. And my son was going to be a freshman. This job was open up. They really knew they had to rebuild an entire program. And obviously, it's Texas, and football is an important part. And so I had a couple conversations and said, I'm in. And, I never dreamed that I would be a high school football coach. And I don't know how long I'll be doing this. I really enjoyed it. But I've always had so much aspiration for high school football coaching. My grandfather was a high school coach, my coach. And I've had some amazing leaders and men in my life. But at the top of that list would be my grandfather, who happened to be my high school coach. And so it wasn't lost on me the opportunity that I could have on these kids. And 3 years, I've loved every second of it.
How has that been, being both a dad of 2 players on your team this past year and also a coach?
Yeah.
Their coach.
Yeah, that's right. It's a great question. I think being a coach's kid, I was a little bit ahead of the curve with that. I would also add, I think with my career, my kids have kind of lived that for a long time, So I felt like they knew coming in here, okay, this is a little bit different in that your dad's the coach, but we've been in the spotlight. We've understand how this go. I've lived it on the other side of being the player and your coach. And so I wanted their blessing on it. Obviously, my older son was like, Dad, let's go do this. And but there's challenges that come with that, right? I mean, you're going to be a freshman and now your dad's the head coach. And so it's just important to me kind of lay it out on the groundwork of like, listen, when you come home, I'm your dad, right? And I'm not prodding to, what about this guy or what about this guy? Like, I'm just your dad. I'm not going to be the coach. But when you're on that field, the standard and expectation for the coach's kid, there are higher standards and people are watching and you have to hold yourself to that. And so it's been really neat to see that. And, the first day on the job, I told the coaches, I said, hey, look, the elephant in the room is this. We're going to have my son in the program. Eventually, we're going to have 2 of my sons in the program. And I want to be clear, coach them like every other kid, right? And be hard on them. But at the same time, love them just like we would love them every other kid too, because they need other coaches, not just their dad pouring into them. And it's been a great relationship. And we've had a lot of great memories together. Obviously, we've had some trying times together as well on the football field, but I'm so blessed to be able to have so many amazing experiences through the game of football and what it's been able to do for my life, but none greater than being in there in Waco and being able to hug my boys and celebrate, that shared commitment of the sacrifice and saying that we're champions together.
Have you had a moment on the sidelines where you have like that proud dad moment, but you're also still coaching?
Yeah, it's happened for both of them at different times. This year we were playing our kind of rival, and it was a team in Fort Worth, and it was a big game. And my son, who's a freshman, got an interception, and he ran it back for a touchdown. And usually I move on pretty quickly, give him a high five, and go. And I just kind of caught myself for a second, just smiling, you're proud, right? And you want to see them have success. You want to see all the hard work go. And for both of them, my older son, same thing, when he kind of had his first big moment, you try to catch yourself and take a breath. And a lot of coaches that have coached their sons, they've shared that with me, like, enjoy these moments. Don't be so hard on them that you can't enjoy it. And so I'm not perfect. I certainly have, got after them pretty good a few times when maybe they didn't deserve it. But I think I've tried to reflect and sit back and say, man, this is a pretty special time to be able to coach them.
How has your wife been? I understand she's like your and your son's biggest cheerleader.
Yeah.
You know how any mom and wife really are, but I know
Yeah.
she's been a big part of your support system, not only through your career, but
Yeah.
and now your second professional career.
Yeah, she's been awesome. I think when you embark on this, and I knew she knew how important football was, of being a player's wife in the NFL for so many years. But this is a different side of things as a coach, right? And so you have that of being a head coach's wife, and there's expectations that come with that. But then you also have 2 kids in the program, and you want to be mom and all that comes with that. And so it sounds like there's been conversations where it sounds like the coach is, working you guys too hard. Maybe we need to have a conversation with him, wink, wink. But she's been awesome. All the things that go into building a program and a community, and especially one like this where, preschool all the way through 12th grade is under one roof, and football can be the front door for that. And not just the players, but cheerleaders and band and dance team and on and on and on. And Friday nights are special here in Texas. And so just building that and things that I'm not good at that she's fantastic of, warrior walk and pep rallies, and okay, let's make sure we got stuff for the guys when they go on the road trips. And so truly, I think our success, she's been a huge part of that. I couldn't have done it without her. Of just she's been with me every step of the way. All the things that I never even think about. It's made our kids feel special and rallied the other parents along the way to make this such a memorable experience for these kids. It's really like a college football program, and the families have been so good to us with just how gracious and they have been in welcoming us and celebrating our family.
Do you think your players know what a big deal you are? Who they're playing for, one of the greatest tight ends in NFL history? Do they know that?
I don't think so. I don't talk much about my playing days. Every once in a while guys will see, and I think the first year was a little bit big deal of we got off the bus and there's autographed guys and maybe opposing teams or the cheerleaders, hey, can we get a photo? And our guys were a little bit bright-eyed with all of that. But now I think what I try to establish is, okay, maybe that opened a door of the excitement that you're going to be willing to listen to maybe something I said. But I really try to say, like, let me establish a relationship as your coach, you know. And every once in a while they'll ask me questions when, you know, Coach, what was your favorite play here? Or what was it like going against this guy? But more than anything else, it's about them and this time in their life. You know, 4 years of high school football, it goes like that. And I think, you know, there's a great quote out there about coaching, and it is, you know, don't judge me on what they are right now and the wins and losses, but judge me in 20 years when we find out what kind of husbands they are, fathers they are. And I couldn't agree more to that. I mean, I think I want them to reach their full potential, and I know what a shared commitment and hard work teaches us. And, you know, whatever dream they have, and a lot of them have that dream to go on and play in the NFL, I'm certainly not going to put them in a box and tell them they can't accomplish that, because, you know, if you would have known my story and where I came from, I wasn't the guy that was going to do that. And a lot of people rolled their eyes at me when I said, this is my dream one day to do that. And so I want to encourage that, but I also want them to understand the reality of that many of them probably aren't going to have that opportunity. But they can reflect back on these 4 years in our football program and what a special time it was. And so that's important to me, you know, and I think it's important for our program.
Jason, how has your faith played a role in what you're doing as a coach?
Yeah, it's been the backbone of it. You know, I mean, I think I saw that in my grandfather. He led me to the Lord. He led me to Christ, and the greatest decision I could ever make. And I think being in a place where that's welcomed and encouraged, and I think so much for me is being able to share my testimony. And that's not to beat them over the head with it and tell them, hey, you got to do it this way, and you're not going to mess up. They're kids. They're going to do that. But I think our actions speak louder than our words. And as a football coach or in this industry, if you can be a man of faith and be that example, I'm far from perfect, make a lot of mistakes, but I think that's been huge for me to be able to do it, because that's been my testimony. That's been my platform. I truly believe God's given me an opportunity on the biggest stage of the world with the Cowboys to be able to walk the walk. And so that's not forgotten now that I'm in these shoes. And so I just try to walk with our kids as much as we can and partner with their parents to, you know, be a positive reinforcement of that and make that important to them, or give them an opportunity to make the decision to give their life to Christ, and what that looks like to walk with Him through every decision in your life.
What do you think you bring to the table as a high school coach that maybe you wouldn't have if you didn't have the experience playing in the NFL for as long as you did?
Yeah, I mean, there's so many great high school football coaches here in Texas, and I just got to say, like, I have so much respect for the time and commitment that not just football coaches, all high school educators that decide to use an extracurricular to pour into the kids. But for me, I think, living that dream, and I think, you know, okay, this is what I want to accomplish, and then getting there and being around some of the best in the world at what they do really opened my eyes to, okay, there can be high standards and there can be high expectations, and you can hold those standards in all areas of your life, not just in one. And so I think that experience has helped that. I think my love for the game and you know, that was my out and pursuing that. But I also think it's allowed me the opportunity to pour into them that if this is what everything that drives you is about, man, you're missing the boat, because football is going to end for you too, right? It ends for all of us. And so you can love something, you can have passion for something, but if that defines who you are and that's it, we're missing the boat. And so I think being on that stage and being around so many great players and coaches at the professional level, and I think that really has allowed me to kind of see so much and grow to now I can kind of pour it back to the next generation.
So you guys won, by the way, in dominating fashion all season. I mean, nobody really even came close to touching you guys. What was it like to win the championship in Waco?
Yeah, Waco was awesome. I mean, we had a great experience. For us, it started there. This summer, we went down for a 7-on-7 tournament in Waco, and we were fortunate enough to win the 7-on-7 tournament. And our kids were really excited, and I just reminded them as we celebrated, like, this is great, but you know, the real celebration is in December when we come back down to Waco. And so 4 months later, and all that went into that, Waco's a great city. I think it's a great sports town. I was fortunate enough a few years back to go to Texas Hall of Fame in Waco, and just experiencing that and looking at the walls and seeing all the great athletes, the men and women that represent this state. I mean, there's nothing like it in the country. And so I think Waco kind of embodies a lot of that. And to see the fans and the experience, it was phenomenal for us and our kids.
What are you thinking in terms of a possible repeat next year?
Well, that would be great. You know, I think we lost a lot of pieces to our team and core pieces, and I know our kids are excited with that. But I think like anything, right, when you build a program and you experience a little bit of success for the first time, you know, it's easy to get entitled. It's easy to think, well, we can do that. And so I think our kids have to understand, well, how did we accomplish that? What sacrifices did we make? And you got to start over again. And so that would be lovely. And that's the goal.
I think people would be surprised, I was, to find out how involved you are year-round. You don't just walk in, coach the football team, done with the team. And
Yeah.
I mean, you're here today,
Yeah.
and we're well after season. You stay very involved with the team year-round?
I do. I think that's important to me. You know, I mean, I think you can't just be here when it's football season alone. You know, I mean, I think, you know, it's about the kids and the relationship, and we're talking about developing them as people and young men. Well, then you have to know what's going on in their life. You know, you have to check in with them. And, okay, man, yesterday was a tough day. Girlfriend broke up with you. Well, let's walk through that, you know. And like anybody, right, what kind of friend are you? What kind of mentor are you? You got to know what's going on. And so I try to stay as engaged as I possibly can. I encourage our staff to do that because you can't ask them to run through the wall for you in November if you're not there for them in March when they have something trying going in their life. And I think I learned that a long time ago. The coaches that I loved this day, and the ones that I call when I'm going through stuff in my own life, are the ones that pushed me. They challenged me. I didn't always love what they told me, but I respected it. And the ones that, you know, the hair on the back of my neck stands up thinking about when they patted me on the back and say, hey, good job, Jason, good job. And I know that wasn't good enough. That frustrates me. And so our kids know, like, we're going to push you every single day to be your best, whether that's in season or off season or on the field, off the field. And that's what a coach should do.
Last question, and then we'll let you go. First of all, we really do appreciate you spending time with us
No,
and
our
talking
pleasure.
with us about this experience. A lot of people have been very interested in your coaching career at the high school level. How much longer do you think that you will coach high school? Do you think you'll at least get your two sons through the program?
Yeah. You know, I get asked that a lot, and you know, I don't know that I can answer that. I mean, I think obviously I still have goals and aspirations of one day, you know, being a head coach at a major university or a major professional team. You know, I mean, it's always been a goal for me. You know, I think I realized I maybe have a chance in coaching with, I don't know, probably about year 10 of my NFL career. I was 30 years old, but technically that's really old in pro football. And, you know, guys would always say to me, like, you know, Jason's like a coach on the field. And when you're playing, you don't really like to hear those words because that means two things. That means you're old, and that means you're probably pretty slow. And the only way you do your job really well is just you're like a coach. You know the answers to the test. And as I reflect back on it, though, I always felt like that was an edge for me. I was able to kind of see things in the game of football maybe a tad bit quicker than other people did. And I don't even know that I knew that at the time. And so I always knew I wanted to coach and feel like I kind of called to do that. And, you know, quite frankly, when I took this job, I really felt like, man, I'm just kind of putting on hold the goals and aspirations I have one day. But coaching is coaching, you know, and I was off on that. And it doesn't matter if you're here or anywhere you're at. It's the same things, you know. The talent level may be different, but and so I think, yeah, that's a goal of mine one day. At what point do I just say, like, okay, I'm going to go after that? I think, you know, I'm so humbled that people have called me and opportunities come, and I realize it's hard to get those opportunities, and at some point you can't just turn them down and keep turning them down, or you kind of get left behind. But at the same time, I'm really enjoying this time right now, and you know, the time with my family, and not just my two boys that are in the program, but I have two daughters that are young, and being able to be in their life. And there's a lot that goes with coaching, certainly at the college and pro level. And so I haven't really put a time frame on when, but this year was a lot of fun for me. Building this program has been a lot of fun. Having the assistant coaches that you enjoy and seeing these kids grow up. So I feel like I've had the luxury of, all right, I'll know when that time is. Got to let me know when those windows are opening up and that's the right opportunity. But right now, I'm really enjoying where I'm at right now.